I used to be normal. Here is evidence of me being normal. This is my high school prom where you can clearly tell that I am not an artist. I am just a normal Midwestern white boy with 4 dates. That was really just my way of saying, hey boys, I'm gay. But the point is that I was not an artist at all. I was terrible at art, and here's an example of that. This is a lie. This was not made by Alex, age 6. It was made by Marc Anthony, age 35. Look at the line work on that. But I love art, and so I would always go to art museums as much as I could. I especially love MoMA in New York City. One time I was there looking at a piece by Jackson Pollock with another normal guy who said, well, I could do that. Why ain't I a rich artist? And I thought, well, you didn't do that. I don't think you could do that. I don't think I could do that. If it's just that easy, why don't you just go do that, buddy? And then I thought, I'm going to do that. So I went home and I ripped up some magazines. I had some paint that a former tenant had left in my apartment, and I slathered that all over the magazine pages, put stickers on there, put duct tape on there, signed it, and said, now I've got 50 pieces of art. And then the next day I made 50 more the next day, 100 more the next day, and I just kept going, and it just kept getting funnier. This piece is called The Abduction of the Delighted Lamb, and it took me 2 minutes to make. I took some religious propaganda, traced over the lamb, printed out a UFO, and stuck it on cardboard. Using this method of not really caring and not knowing what I was doing, within a year I had 4,000 pieces. And then I found out that this wife-beating potato had made 4,500 pieces in his life, and I was like, oh, you may have beaten me in terms of quality, but I am going to smash you into the ground in terms of quantity, and there's nothing you can do about it, Pablo. You're dead. I'm going to beat you like an egg. So I started making these eggs. I started putting them on New Yorkers, crossword puzzles, anything I could. They take me 30 seconds to make. I can make dozens of them in an hour, and I really enjoy making them. And so I had a show with just eggs at CoLab and the Sip Yard, and then Matt Cho gave me some old blueprints from a Kentucky Fried Chicken in 1972 and asked me to egg them, and I said, yes, I will happily egg those, and they are now right here at La Royale in the Broadway Food Hall. The eggs became very popular online, and I got an email from a woman in Korea that said, hey, can I hang your eggs in my cafe? And I said, yeah, sure. So I sent her a bunch of eggs, and she put them over the hot dog bar in her cafe, which is a place of honor as far as I'm concerned. And she said, oh, by the way, this is attached to the Art Museum Versi, and we're doing a show we'd like you to be a part of, including Hooni Hoon, who is a rap star turned artist. Would you like to do that? And I said, yeah, sure. And they said, can you do 7-foot pieces? And I said, I can try. So here is me trying to do 7-foot pieces. There's my cat, Agent Cooper, watching me. He is my worst critic. Not many critics will urinate on pieces they don't like. But sometimes it improves it, honestly. So let me introduce you to my friend Aldo. Aldo is the son of a friend of mine. I printed up this picture of him. He's a very precocious and bigger-than-life 7-year-old. All I did was put some stickers and slather some paint on here. Again, this took like 5 minutes and 0 talent. The museum loved it, and they asked for this and 151 of my formerly made pieces, as well as 50 big ones that I made for them, to be in their exhibition called Art That the Society Lusts For. And here's Aldo on the side of the building, huge. Now, I don't know what it does to the psyche of a 7-year-old to see himself several stories tall, but if anyone knows, please tell me, because I'm literally asking for a friend. Meanwhile, inside this museum, they hung up all of my big pieces of my family and friends and all the small pieces, and then I got to see all of these families interacting with my family. This is my mom and my dad, Gloria and Don, and it was just really great to see all of this happen, and of course, I never expected this because I have no talent. They also made a station for kids to create their own collages, and some of the stuff these kids came up with was brilliant. It was so much better than what I did. Now, here's where things, and possibly I, became weird. The museum sent me a list of 14 pieces they wanted to buy for their permanent collection, and I started looking at those pieces. 2 pieces in particular, this one and the next slide, and as I was looking at them, I thought, in total, these 2 pieces took me 35 seconds to make. And now they're paying for a month of my rent. I started to get a little worried because I was afraid I might prove that guy right. That normal guy next to me is right if I can make a living off of this. So I figured I have to do something to make sure that I'm not doing good art. So I dumbed it down as much as I possibly could again, and I just started putting fish on things. I cut fish out of magazines and nature books and put them on Walmart ads, as is evidenced in this next slide. Now, what does this mean? This means nothing. This means I had too much caffeine that day. There are people who will line up, they have art degrees, and they'll tell you what they think this means, this thing that I basically just farted onto junk mail. Now, all right, junk is a good enough segue to this skater guy that I dated for a while who was a terrible kisser, but he had great stickers, so I stole his stickers and put them on some old art, let the old artist do the work. This is called Joanna Newsom Snaps. And I mean, can't you just hear her just being like, clams and balloons and clitori. Then I made this and people lost their minds. Okay, the weird thing about this piece, as far as I know, it's the only art piece in existence that equally positively appeals to both misogynists and feminists, and I don't know what that means. But what I do know is I can't keep going on this way. If I keep doing this, I'm going to be making a full living from my art, and in that case, what am I going to do? I'm not going to be able to say, yeah, well, art is okay because it pays well enough to keep me in my real passion, which is online coupon aggregation and editing. Thank you.